I never imagined that moving into a new apartment would lead to such unsettling experiences. My name is Ethan. I'm in my early 30s, a mid-level accountant who's spent most of his life buried in numbers. I've always been the quiet, introverted type, no big social circles, no late-night parties. It's just me, my work, and the occasional weekend hike to clear my mind. I had recently moved to this city for a fresh start. After a tough breakup and a job that drained every ounce of my energy, I decided it was time to leave my old life behind. The apartment I found was modest, just a small one-bedroom on the 4th floor of an older building in the heart of the city. The price was reasonable, and though the building was a bit aged, it had its charm. It felt right, at least, I thought it did. The apartment was quiet. Too quiet. It was the kind of silence that felt suffocating. At first, I told myself it was just the isolation. After all, I'd only been living there for a few weeks, and I didn't know anyone in the city. The neighbors, as far as I could tell, were either never home or kept to themselves. The only sounds I ever heard were the creaks of the building settling at night and the occasional distant hum of traffic outside. But there was something else. Something I couldn't quite explain. The first time I noticed it, I tried to brush it off as just paranoia. I was sitting on the couch one evening, flipping through a book. The weather outside was dreary, gray skies with a constant drizzle. I couldn't help but feel like I was being watched, like someone, or something, was lurking just out of sight. The feeling was hard to shake. I tried to ignore it, but the silence in the apartment seemed to amplify every sound. The ticking of the clock. The hum of the fridge. The slight creaks of the floorboards. One night, the feeling became unbearable. It was stormy outside, one of those nights when the rain seemed like it would never end. I had just finished dinner and was trying to unwind after another long day at work. The wind howled against the windows, pushing against the glass with a constant force. It was around 9:30 when it happened, the first knock. Thud. It came from the door. Not a gentle knock, but a forceful one. My heart skipped a beat. I sat frozen, staring at the door, wondering if it was some mistake. Maybe a neighbor had the wrong apartment number. But as I waited, there was no sound of footsteps retreating, just silence. I stood slowly, a chill creeping up my spine. The hallway outside was dark, with the dim light from the lamps barely illuminating the edges. I peeked through the peephole, expecting to see someone standing there, but there was no one. The hallway was empty. I stood there for a moment, unsure of what to do. Should I open the door? What if it was just a prank? But something didn't feel right. The air in the apartment felt thick, almost oppressive. After a minute, I closed the door and locked it again, shaking my head. It's just stress, I told myself. Just nerves. I tried to go back to my book, but the knock kept replaying in my mind. Thud. It came again. This time, louder. As if it were coming from inside the apartment. I froze. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. The air felt like it was pressing in on me, heavy and suffocating. I turned around, scanning the room. Nothing was out of place, but the atmosphere had shifted. The shadows seemed deeper, more alive. I stepped back slowly, my heart pounding. I could feel the walls closing in on me. I grabbed my phone and dialed my best friend quickly, hoping to shake off the unease. But as soon as the phone started ringing, the knocking stopped. Dead silence. Things didn't get any better after that. Over the next few nights, everything seemed off. The lights flickered constantly, and the temperature in the apartment would drop without warning. The chill in the air would bite right through me. But it wasn't just the environment, something was changing inside of me, too. I became increasingly paranoid, like I was being watched. I'd catch fleeting glimpses of shadows in the corners of my vision, and sometimes I'd hear faint whispers in the air. I started avoiding certain parts of the apartment, particularly the back corner of the living room, near the old window, where I felt the most uneasy. But it was there, in that corner, that I found the first sign that something was terribly wrong. Beneath one of the floorboards, I found a small, weathered note. The writing was faint, like someone had scratched it in desperation. I didn't mean for you to find it. My hands trembled as I read the words. The apartment suddenly felt like it was closing in on me, suffocating me. I couldn't take it anymore. I had to leave. I packed up my things quickly, throwing clothes and books into boxes, my mind racing. But just as I reached for the door, the knocking came again. Thud. This time, the knock was louder than before. It rattled the door as if something, or someone, was trying to break through. Panic surged in my chest. And then, through the peephole, I saw it. A figure. Tall, cloaked in darkness, standing at the door. Its features were hidden, but I could feel its presence. The hairs on the back of my neck stood up, and a surge of terror flooded through me. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. The door handle turned. I backed away from the door, my heart hammering in my chest. The figure stepped forward, its hand reaching for the knob. But just before it could turn the handle completely, the lights flickered violently, plunging the apartment into complete darkness. I heard the door creak open. Heavy footsteps entered the room, but I couldn't see anything. My breathing grew shallow, my mind racing with thoughts of what was coming next. And then, a voice. It wasn't the whisper from before, but something deeper, raspier, almost a growl. You found me. The door slammed shut. The silence was deafening. My mind spun. What had I found? Why was it after me? The apartment, it felt alive now. The walls felt like they were closing in. The air grew thicker, and every creak, every groan of the building seemed like a warning. It felt as though the apartment itself was waiting for something. I don't know what's happening. I don't know if I'll ever get out of here. All I know is, the knocking hasn't stopped.